4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Racing World, brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your motorsport podcast show in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Well, hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Racing World. I'm back with my old mate Ali Wooten. We're on the road once again. This time we're out of your magic little van, and after some interesting air travel, we finally made it to Dunedin. We're here as part of the Motorsport New Zealand Elite Academy. I will say this straight away, so it's very clear. We are both trustees of the New Zealand Motorsport Elite Academy, but this podcast show for you on Racing World is about what the Academy is all about. So if you're watching it from overseas, we're going to educate you. If you're watching in New Zealand or listening in New Zealand, we're going to educate you as well. So, Ali, here we are in the deep south once again, eh?
Yeah, mate. As you say, obviously 7 hours later, we managed to get here in the icy cold Dunedin. So, yep, we are here, obviously here at Otago Academy of Sport in Dunedin, and ready for another exciting week with some of the leading drivers that are making their way through the ranks in motorsport here in New Zealand.
Well, as Al said, 7 hours, the normal trip from Auckland's 2 hours. We decided to make it slightly different and travelled down here, circled Dunedin Airport for a couple of hours because it was foggy and couldn't get in. Then we decided we'd fly to Invercargill for a while and had a coffee there, but never got off the plane. And then we flew back to Dunedin and we finally made it. So that's how the 7.5 hours comes from, if anyone's trying to work out the maths. And yes, it is the Motorsport New Zealand Elite Motorsport Academy. This is a grooming ground for young driver talent, both in circuit racing and rally co-drivers, drifting, you name it. We've had them all come through here, and this really is a development program that takes place outside of the car, isn't it? It's not about driving the car.
That's exactly right, Dave, and it's about exposing drivers, co-drivers, kart sport, drifting athletes to the elements outside of the car that makes an athlete what they are. So whether it be about the physical preparation here in the gym, whether it be about mental skills training, nutrition, hydration, and also the physiology that's behind being an athlete and operating within the vehicle as well. So pretty much all those components that make up a race driver, these drivers are here to expose themselves and put themselves in a challenging environment, and giving them all the tools in their toolbox to be able to, hone their skill and become a better human being and a better athlete as well.
Well, it is that part. You can spend countless hours in simulators and driver training, physical driver training, but these are the tools that make the modern racing driver the all-round product, because the majority of the work they do quite often is actually outside of the car. So the Trust and the Academy has been going nearly 20 years now. It was an initiative. The late Ian Snellgrove had a very big part to play with it. He was a great friend of both of ours. And Motorsport New Zealand is globally recognised by the FIA for what they do in this academy. And I think that's very important to recognise if you're living in New Zealand, that this is as good as it gets anywhere in the world. It's not just a homegrown thing. It is as good as it gets. And we've got, Olympic and Commonwealth game tutors here, just the best of the best training these guys. So every year, or in the last few years, it's been 8 graduates that go through this program, and they're with us for the entire 12 months. Ali went through the academy program when he was driving. I actually did it before I was a trustee, but I think it was a master plan to try and kill me off. But Al, you took away so much in that camp here, didn't you?
Dave, honestly, I don't think I'd be sitting here today with you in the role that I am, both as a service provider to Otago Academy of Sport and also as a trustee as well, if it wasn't for the Elite Motorsport Academy. I truly mean that, not only in my own driving and racing achievements as well, but in terms of my own personal development as a human being, as a business owner and operator as well. It just gave me so much out of my life and taught me how to, make the most of every opportunity as it presents itself as well.
Well, the structure of the academy, if you like, is it's run by a trust, a non-profit organisation, with the assistance from Motorsport New Zealand running under their banner. The trust relies solely on funding from benefactors. So if you've got a spare few dollars and you want to give it to us, there are ways of doing that. Contact Motorsport New Zealand for that, because this is not a cheap exercise to do, but we do it as a trust because we believe in the fact that there is more and more talent out there. There's over 140 people who have gone through this academy over the years. Just today, the guys were greeted with a special appearance from someone who went through the camp in 2006, and that's WRC rally driver Hayden Paddon. He went through that very camp, and now he was taking time out of his day to come back and mentor these guys, and that's majorly significant.
Yeah, and just what we say there as well, with reference to Hayden was through the academy the year before me, and obviously went on to great success in WRC and other national rally championships as well. But you look at what Hayden's doing now with his own business venture over in Cromwell as well, and developing the all-new EV car that he's been working on for a couple of years now. So, whether it's behind the wheel or in life and business, like we say, Hayden's taken so much from this program and continues to practice it every day.
We will show you some little clips, as you've been seeing, of the camp week. We tend to try and keep it, it's not top secret, but this is a thing that we've strived for a long time. So, and we also don't want to give the game away for the class of what could be 2022, other than say, if you make the selection, you're in for a great ride. So we've got 8 people here this year, all males this year, not a gender bias thing or anything like that, just the way it came out. So we've got 2 from Rally with Jack Hawkswood and Jordan Grant. Then we've got a whole raft of drivers from Formula Ford, and a young Brock Gilchrist from Matakana area in the Toyota 86. I guess we better rattle off all the other names. So that's 3 of the 8.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously we've got a handful of Formula 4 drivers as well. Matthew McCutcheon, just to name one of them as well. And obviously Flynn Mullaney, who's, had a little bit of extra experience recently. And I think he's meant to be running in the BMW category as well moving forward. So there's a real vast range of drivers. And I think, like you say, Brock Gilchrist is finally the only 86 driver in the program this year, because we've had a bit of a flood of 86 drivers in recent years. So extremely well-rounded group of individuals, and like you say, Jack Hawkswood being the oldest driver at, I believe, 24 years of age. Oldest driver at 24 years of age.
And then we've got the 2 from the South Island, both from Formula Ford as well, James Penrose and Jack Noble-Edams. So there's a massive spread, and it tends to play out that way. Sometimes there's been co-drivers, sometimes there hasn't. Again, it's on any given year. Just a raft of people that applied this year. As trustees, we've never interviewed as many people as what we did this year, which is just testament to what the Academy offers. We always say to the young students that are coming through the camp, if you're not successful in a camp year, come back and have another go, because there's always another go, and this camp is always open. So it just does so much, and I think, as you said, it brings a lot of life skills to people, as well as the rounded driver education. Yeah,
and I think one thing to note as well, it's not just a week here in Dunedin at Otago Academy of Sport and Otago University as well at the PE school. It's the year-long follow-up that goes on as part of the graduate program, Dave. So obviously, we're about creating opportunities and putting these tools in the toolbox for these drivers, but the year-long support with all the various different providers that the drivers are working with here this week, given they're, all from around different parts of the country, they'll be put with the appropriate providers where we see fit, where the drivers need additional time and effort and energy put into, just honing those skills that they need particular attention. So, there's so much to this program, and it's an extremely expensive program to be able to put these drivers through every year, and it's just an absolute blessing that it's had such a success that it has over the years, and some exciting massive names have been through this program as well.
We should also mention at this point in time, we're not the only trustees. There's 4 main trustees, and then in any given time, the president of the sport, so in this case at the moment, Wayne Christie, becomes the 5th trustee. So our other 2 partners in crime, if you like, Tony Herbert and Lyle Williamson, they'll both be here later in the week. They've played a very big part since the inception of the Academy. I've been in for 11 years now, Al's been in for a few years. But those guys help spearhead the whole thing and continue to spearhead that. And without their, I guess they like to refer to us as the young guns, but without their wisdom,
tenacity,
or yelling at us, we wouldn't be where we are as well. We thank them for that.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously it stems back as far as the man who originated and created this program 20 years ago, and that was Ian Snellgrove. And Ian was such an imperative part of motorsport here in New Zealand, obviously regulating and signing off the tracks and the standards that the tracks were specifically built and regulated to for driver safety and the safety of marshals and camera crews and that sort of thing as well. So, this program isn't just about the 1 week, it's about the people that have been involved and the providers. We've had providers that have been here since day dot that are still providing for us, to this day as well.
And I think that the other point that I'd like to acknowledge is the massive, massive support that we get from the Otago Academy of Sport and the Otago University. The reason it happens down here is because of the relationship we have with both those parties, and also we were able to use the facilities at the university during the university break, which enables us to get some of the very, very best equipment around to give these guys the very best that we can. Without Otago's support and ongoing commitment to the program, we wouldn't be in that position either, would we? No,
that's exactly right. And an analogy that I like to use is anyone can fill a great big concrete tilt slab warehouse with a whole lot of equipment, but like so many other aspects in here, it's about the people that are involved behind the program, and it wouldn't be that without them as well. So obviously my background and work that I do down here as a provider is in the strength and conditioning department. So like I say, I like to think that I bring a bit of value, and as do you in the classroom, with obviously the digital media side of things as well. So this program's all about the people that are involved, and obviously bring this program to light and make it what it is.
Yeah, well, this is about as close as I'm going to get to the gym this year, that's for sure. Normally we're greeted by these massive Highlander rugby players. I think they've all snuck off for lunch at the moment, so it's quite safe to be down here, because normally you feel quite terrified by the guys. But it is, as I've said, it is a great program. There's so much going on. Just to give you a bit more of an understanding, we're at over 140 people that have now gone through the camp, and on a percentage basis, around the world, 32% of the drivers or co-drivers or whoever you like that have been through this academy are earning a living in the sport in a professional way now. So most New Zealand drivers that you see overseas, the Nick Cassidys, the Mitch Evans, Shane Van Gisbergen, you carry on, they've all come from there. There's only a very few that haven't, and that was generally because of logistical issues about not having them in the country at the time.
Yeah, and there's still drivers that obviously that applied to get into the academy last year, but due to COVID circumstances, their names were put forward to reapply again for this year. They did so, but due to obviously the borders opening up and travel arrangements being able to go ahead again, drivers that were applying and did get through the selection process weren't obviously able to make camp week here as well. So it's been a challenging, last couple of years to say the least, but it's great to be back here in Dunedin and seeing this program flourish once again.
Well, as I said, Ali is one of the trustees alongside me. He is a great tutor as well for the camp. There's lots of stories to be told here in Dunedin, but what I am going to do for you next on Racing World is we're going to catch up with someone from the Otago Academy of Sport. Well, I've moved from the what was called cooler climates of the gymnasium downstairs to the upper echelon office. There's a lot more warmth up here, actually. And speaking of warmth, Carmel Leslie's with me now from Otago Academy of Sport. Carmel is the camp leader for the 2021 camp, and this is just an amazing thing you guys do.
Thanks, DT. This is my first year being involved. Of course, in 2020 it was canned due to obvious reasons. But it has given me an opportunity to have an insight into motorsport and the requirements of your sport. But what we bring is our specialist team of sports science providers, amongst other providers like sponsorship and performance planning and things like that, to the table to basically give these athletes the skills to help them in life, but also in their athlete journey.
Yeah, well, me and Alistair were talking about it just before. It's about making the all-rounded athlete. So these are no longer motorsport drivers; they are athletes, aren't they? And Otago has a reputation for delivering very fine athletes across multiple disciplines of sport.
That's right. Well, we're a very unique situation down here because we have the access to phys ed school and all the brains trust that comes with that. So as you saw today, we had the boys being tested in the lab for their VO2 max or testing. We do have a lot of academics and science and research and exercise science that we can tap into to support our athletes. We have a great hub here at High Performance Sport with the gym and a number of our providers who are based here as well. So it is a unique situation. We also have access, proximity to facilities and things is easy here. It's a small city with good support, lots of heart, and a lot of good sporting history.
I know through the period of time that I've been involved, which is quite a few years now, I've had the privilege of seeing Olympic athletes training alongside our guys down in the gymnasium, Highlanders training alongside our guys, making them look like little tiny midgets. But, the thing is, there's a variety of people that go through here. I was talking to Mike Jacobs, who was involved with the academy a few years ago, and he's got 3 people that are getting ready to go to Japan, so the pool of knowledge that goes into helping these 8 that have been selected for this year here is phenomenal from Otago.
Absolutely. And as you touched on, they all train very close together. I mean, as a school kid, you could pop down to Logan Park and watch the Highlanders train. And if you're an aspiring rugby player, that's pretty special. So accessibility to talent and to the people that surround that talent is there, and we have great quality. So.
And just reiterating too, because we've been in the gym, so I just want to make it very clear to people, it's not just about gym work. Like a lot of the young kids that come to this academy go, we're just going to spend all this time in the gym, and it's not about the gym. There's so much more. It's about what the state of mind, and we're lucky to have Hayden Patton with us as a guest today at the lunch break, and it's about the mind, and hearing a guy that went through the camp in 2006 talking about 10-year goals.
Yeah.
And this is what we're teaching these kids, isn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty inspirational, and what a great example of a driver who's gone on to be big in the sport, and for them to be able to relate to the fact that he went through what they went through. He was where they were, and there is a way. And what he talked about was mahi and hard work. And nothing prepares you. You can have all the money in the world, but nothing prepares you for success and for the rigour of the sport, like understanding hard work, and also, as you said, the psychology behind it, the preparation and mental skills, and setting goals, and eating right, making sure your sleep hygiene is good. That's what we bring to the table to help.
It's also about learning how to win, but it's also learning about how to take defeat.
Absolutely, and that's where our biggest gains come from, is being defeated, is losing. And when you learn what went wrong and you correct that, or you tap into resource to assist you with whether it's technical or whether you were not getting enough sleep, you were dehydrated, whatever that is, if you can identify that, make that change, then that's when you start to see improvement.
Well, there you go. That's just part of the hidden stories, if you like, behind the Motorsport New Zealand Elite Academy with our great friends from Otago. We certainly couldn't do it without that. I'm looking at photos of you on the wall now with your gymnastics thing, So gymnastics is on the horizon for you, team selection. It just, again, highlights just what happens down here at Camp Week at Otago. Thank you so much for watching Racing World. Next week, we're bringing the show from, believe it or not, I'm in Japan. So we'll see you then on Racing World.
Arigato.